Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel 80 Years Marvel Legends Captain America. This is like one of the retro figures, so to speak. But anyway, this is the new Captain America figure. Everybody seems to be just going goo goo gaga over, that's not the saying. And it's got some really good features. Some very nice things going on here. Couple things that are pretty much crap, but you know, that's the way these things are, and that's what reviews are for. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 6 3/4 inches, which makes him just about 17 centimeters, closer to 6 5/8, I suppose. Anyway, it's clearly out of scale, but they're in scale with Marvel Legends by today's standards, so that's an issue, but apparently we're just never going to address it. It's going to be something we don't talk about. We don't mention it. And so this guy does reuse some parts, does have some new parts. Some things are good, some things are bad. Now, it's my understanding that a lot of these have absolutely butt cheeks paint on them. And luckily, my brother found a few and was able to put together one that was a good one for me and sent it to me, since I have not yet found any. And so that's good. However, even with his efforts, we still have some issues. Luckily, he got one that has a really good torso for me. I guess a lot of them are really bad. But the other big issue is the face, so let's just get right into the aesthetics on the face. He's got Bernie Mac eye for sure. This one is just not interested in what this one's doing at all. This one's like, hey, what's going on over there? This one's like, hey, knock it off, you're supposed to be looking forward. So that's definitely questionable. The rest of the face paint is pretty good, pretty clean. I like it. Other paint issues include really fabulous silver-ish blue dry brushing type effect going on up here. I wish it was a little bit more consistent, like you see clearly a band of not silvery blue at all right there, and they clearly didn't put any on the bicep part right there, but it does look fabulous up here. I love that. It really makes the figure pop. It's very nice, and mine is very clean for the abdominal section. That's good. And then for the wrists, they painted the red. And this side's painted pretty nicely. It matches well enough with the molded plastic here. This side is like a totally different color. Very bright red right here. That blows a lot. And then for up here, we have solid molded white for the arm parts that are supposed to be white, which you would think is good and normally is. However, mine has a lot of red on it still somehow. It's very faint, so I don't know. I guess maybe when they were handling it to paint this, it got up on here. I don't know, but mine has that issue. And then the blue part's not painted great up there, but eh. Sculpt, by the way, on the chest, again, fabulous. This is like a separate rubber layer that's on top of, probably not actually rubber, it's on top of the frame. It is not a diaphragm joint. Missed opportunity for sure to add a diaphragm joint on there, which would have been great. They already had the separate piece. Oh well, ab crunch is still there, we'll get to that. The belt is painted nicely and nothing else down here to paint, but we can talk about aesthetics really quickly. Nice thighs, nice and meaty looking thighs, that's what's important on a superhero. So the problem here is that his calves are what the hell was that? His calves are very skinny, exceedingly skinny. Like, they look skinny up here, but you're like, maybe they'll bulk out a little bit. He's got his pirate boots on, and the calves are still very skinny. And it's like not the most big deal in the world, but it's something you're definitely going to notice, because he's fairly chunky across the shoulders and chest, and especially his abdominal section. He's very girthy, and he's got meaty thighs, and then his calves are just nothing. He's got no calf muscle at all. From the side it's okay, but from the front, spindly as hell. So that's definitely an issue. But ultimately, it does look pretty good. I'm going to give the overall, I'll give it an 8. I think there's a lot of really good stuff going on here. And this was a personal request, and I'm going to compare it to what was previously considered the #1 Captain America figure. First of all, the scale difference is obvious. Second of all, this figure came out about 50 years ago. I don't actually know when it was. It's like 2004, I want to say. It's a very rough estimate. Anyway, it clearly suffers from some craziness, like the head being a peanut. They take the superhero proportions a little bit too far, Toy Biz, but these guys definitely do it the other way with the big heads. Also Lollipop, we'll get to that, but let's just look at one thing that this figure makes this figure look terrible with. Look at the sculpt of his chesticles and his back. This looks like a muscly. This looks like a muscular, mean dude. Very thick chest, very thick back. The arms are behind the neck, probably too much in an exaggerated way, but it is still a good look for him. Sculpted well for the legs. All in all, really nice proportions. Just ignore the head and neck, because that's messed up on this figure for sure. Whereas compared, this guy looks good enough from the front, but from the side, he doesn't really have any of that girth. He doesn't have what makes a superhero look like a superhero, really. So yeah, I mean, obviously Toy Biz did a lot of things terribly. They did try, though, really hard, and they did get a lot of things really good. Really right? Really well done, whatever. So yeah, I don't think that you could really compare the two directly, other than to see them both and you could say which one you like. This one is riddled with problems, but it does some things really well. This one isn't riddled with problems, but it doesn't do very many things really well other than the sculpt on the chest scale nail. So there you go, now you have a little bit of insight into both of those things. Also, there's like 4 different versions of this figure with slight changes, like the gray pants and head things and all kinds of stuff like that. So anyway, now you know, that's the face-off cap. This is the new 80 years one. All right, moving on to accessories. We have 2 heads. We have the normal head that comes on him in the package, and then we have one with a super huge chin and worst Bernie Mac eye. And this is supposed to be, I guess, just like his stern face, slightly more stern. Like, I don't get it. Why did they make a separate head where it's almost the same thing, but with a giant chin? I don't quite understand what's going on here. The A is smaller a little bit. The eye shape is slightly different, but it's so similar. I don't quite understand it. I don't really get what's going on there. We have 2 gripping hands, we have 2 fist hands, and then we have this absolutely ridiculous shield throwing hand, which is cool in concept, except absolutely terribly executed. If he was to throw the shield, the swoosh would be behind the shield and not connected to his hand, because his hand would keep moving after he's thrown it. So the swoosh should go this way, and the hand should be over here. Or it should be a straight swoosh, as if he threw it straight and left his hand there. This makes no sense at all. It's well enough executed, the hand's painted well, the shield's a nice enough shield, and of course it comes off to be used as a shield, but the swoosh itself is very silly. And that's it for accessories, but I think that's pretty good, other than the head being a little bit less than necessary, so I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's, I mean, it's fine. They tried a little bit at least, so I could give it a 7, but I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give it an 8. All right, moving on to the articulation. We have lollipop syndrome, and it would definitely look better if the head didn't sit too high. If you knock that head down just a little bit, do we have room to seat it? No, I'll have to I'll Photoshop it because this isn't working, but you get the idea. The head definitely sits too high. It would help him look a lot more heroic if he didn't have his head trying to get away from his chest. But it does have the hinge going back and forward. Lollipop is everywhere still, rotation. Lots of wiggle because of it. Shoulders, they work wonderfully. A little bit of stiff, but that's okay. Really nice horizontal range, full rotation. Bicep swivel is fine, but he's chunky, so you have to raise the arm up a little bit if you want to rotate it. That's pretty typical. Double jointed elbows are pretty good. Glove gets in the way, but you still have pretty good range, so that's all right. Wrist, swivel, and hinge, that's all standard. Again, no diaphragm joint. We do get an ab crunch pizza oven going on in there. Don't know why they do that. Just hollow it out more. Make it rounded inside the chest, and then you could round this out too, but they don't do that. It's freaking weird. Freaking weird. Doesn't lean forward really very far at all, so it's not great. They really missed an opportunity on this torso. Belt is floaty, waist twist is waist twisty. Hips can go really far forward, very nice. He almost kicks high, like Kasumi. You guys remember that commercial from the 90s? Probably not. Was it 2000s? It was. Alright, legs don't go back at all. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knees are fine. Boot swivel is there. Skinny legs. And the foot goes all the way back and all the way forward. And we get a decent enough ankle rocker mixed with the ankle boot. Ankle boot, wow. Mixed with the shin swivel or boot swivel, you get good range out of that ankle swivel hinge. There you go. So articulation on this guy is pretty solid. Ab crunch blows. Everything else is okay, except for the lollipop head. I'll give it a... Did I do this? I didn't do this. Look how far they go. All right, I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. Definitely some issues, but all in all, it's pretty solid. It's probably the best cap Hasbro has made, not counting movie figures. And so, yeah. All right, final verdict time. I like this personally. I like it a whole bunch. I hate a couple things, you know, like the lollipop syndrome. But otherwise, and the calves being skinny, but otherwise, it's a really strong release. I can see a lot of people being very happy. I love that they made the shoulders a little bit bulkier. That makes him look a lot better. Yeah, I like this one. I'm going to give this overall an 8 out of 10 for the final verdict. It's a really, really strong release with a couple dumb things about it, but most people won't care about those things, and most people won't even notice them. So, my job is done. It's an 8 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned. I think you guys will like it. Track one down, get it, you'll be happy. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, well, you know what to do with that too. Shove it. No, just give it a thumbs down, that's fine. And if you did make it this far, you might want to subscribe. I have new videos up just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel waiting for you to watch. So make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.